Manuel Ugarte is set for his Manchester United medical today, plus all the latest regarding Raheem Sterling as the reports with him joining Manchester United actually start to hold some credibility. That plus all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news that will keep you right up to date with everything. Welcome to Man United Review. My name's Jamie. Before we get into it, please smash a like on the video and let's jump straight into it. So let's kick off with Ugarte. So the news kind of broke last night that's saying that he was due to have a flight from Paris to Manchester. He is now in Manchester. That's been confirmed. There's been a few photos of him online, and Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Manuel Ugarte will have his Manchester United medical today. The same is being said with Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay apparently has had a flight to Naples. He's set to have his medical today, so it looks like it could be a double deal day regarding Ugarte and Scott McTominay officially signing and officially leaving the club. But that's just the latest regarding that situation. But the main noise over the last 24 hours since we got the here we goes for Ugarte and for McTominay in what was a frantic day yesterday. Hannibal Mabry obviously left as well. That was confirmed. What a day, what a morning. It was actually all done in a morning pretty much yesterday as well. So that was massively exciting. And then since then, there's just been more and more stories regarding Raheem Sterling and Jadon Sancho and a possible swap deal, which I've got to be honest, when I originally kind of saw those stories a couple of days ago, I did almost dismiss them because I just couldn't for the life of me think that they would be like genuine, there'd be any kind of credibility behind it. But now, actually, when I go through and bring you all the updates, these are all coming from very credible sources. So let's run through it. So first of all, Mike McGrath, who works for The Telegraph, who's a good source, said Manchester United have opened talks for Raheem Sterling, but a swap deal for Jadon Sancho will only happen on the club's term. Dan Ashworth discussed the possibility with Chelsea today. Then we had Sky Cave, firstly, good source, saying Chelsea would be open to a Sancho and Sterling swap deal if both players are open to a move. Fabrizio Romano said that from Chelsea's point, Chelsea is saying that we are happy to sign Jadon Sancho if Manchester United are prepared to take one of the players we don't want in the squad. Then we've had Sky Sports again saying that the possibility of Sancho and Sterling swap deal is now being seriously considered. It's thought Ben Chilwell and Raheem Sterling were the players being offered. I mean, Ben Chilwell, if you're a subscriber or you've watched any of my previous videos, I do not want Ben Chilwell. He's more injury prone than Luke Shaw, and he's nowhere near as good. I just don't see how that would make any sort of sense. And there has been an update on left back situation coming up the end, actually, which will hopefully dismiss the Ben Chilwell speculation. Sam C, another credible source, said Manchester United won't take Sterling on stupid terms, and he has issues he needs to resolve with Chelsea before any move. So apparently on that, I was reading this morning, I've not done a slide on it because it was like more of a Chelsea news saying he's still got 3 years left on his contract and is owed around £70 million in wages, Raheem Sterling. So that's ridiculous, isn't it? Regarding that. Then we've had Ben Jacobs, another, fairly credible source, saying talks over Sterling and Sancho centered on all options, including a loan. Players open to move, but only club-to-club talks for now. Samuel Lucas, another credible source, saying both Manchester United and Chelsea will reassess the development of a potential deal ahead of Friday's transfer deadline. The Times, another credible source, said Dan Ashworth is particularly enthusiastic about the potential swap deal involving Jadon Sancho and Raheem Sterling. So, from what's gone from what I felt was like a rumor or a bullshit story, effectively, as a way to kind of, force Juventus or maybe force other clubs to make a move, putting out a swap deal with Sterling, to actually, Sky Cave, Fabrizio Romano, The Telegraph, The Times, Ben Jacobs, Samuel Lucas, these are all really credible sources, are all confirming that actually there might be some legs in a swap deal or some kind of deal involving Sancho to Chelsea and Sterling to United. I mean, the Times saying at the end there that Dan Ashworth is particularly enthusiastic about the potential swap deal, that's kind of, I don't want to say alarming because let me know in the comments. You'll have to let me know your opinion in the comments, right? But it seems from, I did a post on the community tab whether people would do it. I think a majority of people said no. That was winning at the time of recording this video. Yeah, I don't know. Like Raheem Sterling at one point, very good player, very, very good player. My brother-in-law used to, I don't know whether he still is, we've not spoken about Raheem Sterling for a while, but would have taken him at United at some point in time. And I just I just get the feeling with the deal that we get the shit end of it, which doesn't sit very well with me. I mean, Raheem Sterling, I don't know, it just doesn't fit the profile of what Ineos are looking for. We'll go through the Sancho news and then we'll give a few more thoughts on it. So in regarding to Sancho himself, so Simon Stones from the BBC, who's a good source, said that Juventus are resisting United's desire to include an obligation to buy and are unwilling to pay Jadon Sancho's full wages. And then we had Italian reports who were fairly credible, I believe. I mean, I don't know their credibility personally, but they were reposted by credible sources, so I'm going to assume fairly decent. That Juventus want to complete Sancho deal even before selling Chiesa. So we've got reports there from Simon Stone. So reading between the lines, right? I kind of think that Juventus don't want to, they can't afford to buy Sancho, because our obviously number one option would be to sell Sancho. We want 40 million quid. There you go, off you go, we take the cash and we all move on with our lives, right? But there's no team out there that's going to pay 40 million pounds for Sancho and pay him anywhere near his 250 grand a week wages, right? At the moment that we know of. Okay, there might be teams behind the scenes maybe doing some deals, hopefully, but in the ones that are being reported don't have the money available to do that. PSG were one that could have, but they've pulled out of the race. They're not interested in Sancho anymore. Brought you that news yesterday. So the second option United want is to loan him out with an obligation to buy. They want the teams to pay his full wages, though, while they do that. And that's not on the table neither, because Juventus are the ones that are probably still more heavily like ahead in the race, even though we've just gone through all the Sancho news there. They're only offering at the moment a loan with an option to buy. United want a loan with an obligation to buy because it's as good as a sale. It just basically pushes that sale till next summer, and then we still get the cash, and we still don't have to then worry about Sancho coming back and just going back through all of this issue again next summer, which is just not, I don't think anybody wants it. I don't even think Sancho himself would want it as well. So it's not an ideal situation. And they're the two kind of things that United mainly want, but none of those are on the table. The only offer that we've actually got on the table is from Juventus, which is a loan with an option to buy. And we still have to pay a big percentage of Sancho's wages because he's on 250 grand a week. Chiesa, if he leaves, is on about 150. So I can see us having to pay the extra £100,000 a week until next summer, which if it was an obligation to buy, I wouldn't be against. But if it's still an option to buy, it's just an absolute waste. So then it looks like if United are not happy with those deals, the only other deal that's available is the Sterling swap deal, which, I personally don't rate. I don't rate that deal. I don't think we get the good end of it. I mean, Sterling's, he is a decent player. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, what did he play at 31 league games last season? 8 goals, 4 assists. For his Chelsea team that were relatively poor as well, they had just as poor a season as we do. And to be fair, I wouldn't judge any player at Chelsea at the moment properly, because how do you know what someone's form is, whether they're good player, bad player? It's just an absolute circus what's going on at Chelsea at the moment, in my opinion. So I'd be very skeptical about judging any player from Chelsea at the moment. But surely if we're going to do a swap with Chelsea, there's somebody that fits the profile a little bit better than Sterling. But, doing what I do, let's have a look at it. It might happen. There's very credible sources saying that it might happen. So Let's have a look at him. So Sterling, these were his stats on FB Ref for last season. Top 94% off for touches in the attack and penalty area. Top 80 for interceptions. That's a standout one. Top 90 for non-expected non-penalty goals. Top 82. Progressive carries 86. Do you know what I mean? Like, he is a good player. I've seen Troy Deeney on Sky yesterday actually said that he would be United's best winger if he signed. I'm not sure about that, but you know, there's a case for it. There'll be people watching that would say, well, actually, yeah, he probably would be, because on goals and stats, he probably would be, because he's outscored any of our wingers last season and got more assists than any of our wingers last season as well. So that's, you know, there is a case to be made there. And he is very versatile as well. So if you want a versatile forward, look at the positions he's played in. Played left wing, centre forward, second striker, right wing. Like, he is a very versatile player. I just personally don't like the age profile. 29 coming up 30. I think he's going to be 30 in like December time. He is on the decline as well. His numbers have gone down, but that might be expected anyway, leaving Man City and going to Chelsea. You know, he's on 300 grand a week as well. Is he really going to take a 50% minimum pay cut to come to United? I can imagine it'll be about 200 grand a week, which is a lot of money. I think he'd hinder the progress of Garnacho and Amad Diallo, who started the season really well. But on the positive side, I suppose, if we look at it that way, very experienced, proven winner, goals and assists, tricky, pacey, can play multiple positions. So it's just a really weird one. It would just be really strange. I don't know. It's got credibility. This is definitely one that's heating up, I would say. It's not at this. I don't think it's bullshit anymore. There is some kind of credibility, because if you've got Fabrizio Romano and all the kind of credible sources that I've shown you today mentioning that this could be possible. I think more likely if Juventus do an obligation to buy, I think that would be the deal that United would prefer. But if there's no other offer on the table, I suppose it comes down to, like, thinking of it from a different perspective. I suppose it all might come down to how desperate are United to get rid of Sancho. If it's a case where we just want rid of him regardless of the deal, and if Chelsea can kind of facilitate a permanent move away, not a loan, paying his wages, obligation to buy, that sort of thing, and it involves a swap deal, maybe United are just that desperate they want rid of Sancho that they're happy to do that deal just for the sake of it. That could be another option. But let me know what you think about the whole Sterling situation in the comments. Well, let's move on to other news. So Victor Lindelof, Samuel Lucas has said Victor Lindelof's injury hampers his possible departure. Victor Lindelof will also be used as cover in the fullback positions in the likely event he stays at the club. Did mention that before, that Victor Lindelof's injured, which might be an issue with him obviously passing medicals and stuff. But again, it's one to keep an eye on. Obviously, he's on the market. It's in the last year of his contract, so United will be desperate to get rid of him. It's just whether there's that much interest around. I did see a story actually from linking in with Lazio from Dimarcio, came out this morning, so that's one to maybe keep an eye on. I think United would look to move Lindelof on, but there's just not that much interest in him at the moment. But the closer we get towards deadline day, the more desperate clubs might be for a position, so we might see some last-minute movement on Lindelof. We also might see some last-minute movement on Christian Eriksen. So Laurie Whitwell has said, as so far Ajax have said they cannot afford Christian Eriksen. I think we want about £5 million for him. But he's on 150 grand a week. That's the main problem. Again, whether that's negotiation tactics from Ajax, trying to kind of either force United to do some kind of payoff, or Eriksen to reduce his wage demands or reduce the price, who knows. But it's definitely one to keep an eye on, again, towards the end of the window, because Christian Eriksen himself has said he wants to play football, and I don't think that's going to be possible at United, so he's going to have to make a decision in the next couple of days. Samuel Lucas has said that Manchester United have no intention of moving for a stopgap left back ahead of Friday's transfer deadline. So obviously there was noise around Ben Chilwell. Apparently, according to Samuel Lucas, no new left back or a stopgap left back ahead of Friday's deadline. So if they're going to get a left back in, it's going to be the one that they want. and it's unlikely we're going to get that sort of deal because we're not really heavily linked with that players. Yes, we've had rumours United like this player, we like Kirkes, I'm sure Gutierrez, these sort of players, but there is no we're not in negotiations or anything like that with any particular left back at the moment. So that's a concern, but you can let me know what you think about that in the comments. And then Scott McTominay. So Sky Sports have said that Napoli will finalise the terms of Scott McTominay's contract. If all goes well, he will travel to Italy tomorrow. That's today. So this was yesterday's news. Scott McTominay is expected in Italy tomorrow. The clubs have exchanged all documents. That came from Damasio. Fabrizio Romano has said that Scott McTominay to Napoli. Here we go. Deal in place for €30 million package plus sell-on clause. United have authorised Scott to travel for medical tests and contract signings. So, as I mentioned earlier, it looks like Ugarte's having his medical today. Scott McTominay will have his medical today. We could get a double deal announcement for both players. So I'll bring you any updates as they go through. And that's you all up to date with the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. It'll be interesting to hear your opinion on some of the topics discussed today. Smash a like on the video on your way up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. See you in the next one.